Hi, I'm Christina from Music World. In today's AMA, I will be giving you an insight into how you may best structure your practice sessions. This video follows on from my part 1 video in which I answer the question, how may I make practice a daily, weekly routine? So planning out our practice sessions can be very beneficial to ensure that you practice all the musical material that you need to throughout your week, and it can also help to maximize progress. What is included in each practice session will really be dependent on what level you're at and what musical material that you're learning. Although practice sessions can be individually tailored and therefore what works best for someone might be different to what works best for someone else, there are several things that I think will be of benefit to everybody. Now, the first thing is to set a goal for each piece or exercise that you practice so that you can focus on improving. Working towards achievable goals helps you to focus your attention on those goals while you're playing, and it also helps you to use your time more efficiently and to stay motivated, especially once you achieve those goals and realize that, all the progress that you're making. The second thing is to listen to how you play in order to help you identify what needs to be improved and to maintain an overall goal of aiming to improve. Something that can be quite useful for both beginners and non-beginners is to record yourself, maybe on a device, for example, and to listen back to the recording. So this will give you more of an outsider's perspective. It might also help you to realize what you've missed while you're actually playing the piece. And if you are very familiar with how the piece should sound, that will also help in knowing what you need to work on. So I do suggest listening to some recordings of the ultimate way to play your pieces, for example, and that way you will know what to aim for. The third thing is to spend a large portion of your practice time on the more challenging musical material in smaller sections. So while I know it is really tempting to play the pieces that we know best while we're practicing, I do strongly encourage you to identify and isolate the weakest parts of your pieces and work on those. That way you will be able to play or use your practice time a little bit more efficiently, and you'll learn your piece a bit more effectively as well. And once you've isolated and practiced those sections, then you can join it to the larger part of the piece, and you'll find that your progress will be a little bit better, I think, than just playing through your pieces that you know quite well. The fourth thing is to still make sure that you do practice your known musical material within your practice sessions, and aim to gain confidence and add all those polishing touches to the piece. This includes things such as dynamics and looking for effective ways to convey the stylistic characteristics of your pieces and to play expressively. You may experiment with a range of different expressive devices. You could also listen to lots of other pieces of the same stylistic period so that you get a better understanding of what the style is of your pieces. And you could also aim to get to know your pieces so well that you can play them from memory and really connect with the music. Now, I will give you an example of how you could structure your practice sessions. So initially, I would spend a minute or two firstly checking your seating position, posture, things like your curved hand position. And if you've been given any warm-up exercises or relaxation exercises, maybe start with those, making sure that your hand position is correct. Once you're in a comfortable position to start practicing, if you're at the stage of learning technical work or you've been given some technical exercises to work on, maybe start with those. That way your hands will be able to be warmed up. And if you're an intermediate or advanced student, and I know such students may have a lot of technical work, you'd probably be best to spread those out during the week. So plan it out, make sure that you focus on the weaker scales, maybe playing those ones more often, and make sure that you focus on the main points that were covered on during your lesson. Next, I would move on to pieces. Now, one thing that I think is useful is rather than playing through everything, maybe pick 1 or 2 pieces per day and focus on those more thoroughly. Now, depending, of course, on what level you're at with your pieces. So I'd probably start by thinking of what you need to work on with each piece, if you can recall what you need to work on. Otherwise, maybe just play through the piece first and work out what you need to focus on. So once you've thought of up to maybe 3 aspects to work on, then I would isolate the sections you need to practice and play through them maybe several times, hands separately, then hands together if you're at that stage where you need to play it separately first. You might choose to play your pieces slower then faster. And then once you've worked on the individual sections several times, I would then move on to joining it to the larger sections on either side. Now, for more advanced grades, given that there are lots of musical and technical challenges involved, maybe it might be better to focus just on 1 piece per day, and that will be probably less taxing on your hands, or work on your pieces in much smaller sections so that you can go through them all without straining physically or mentally, so that you're not having to concentrate way too much and lose focus. So the main thing is to have good quality practice. Make sure that you're focused, you're relaxed, and making the most of your practice time every day. Now, depending on how much time you have available after the bulk of your practice, you may consider revising 1 or 2 pieces that you've learnt that are more well-known, and make sure that you listen to yourself and aim to improve. And depending on what else you're learning, you might also include things such as sight reading or oral, maybe improvisation or any other aspects that you've been working on throughout your lessons. Don't neglect those, of course. Now, in structuring and setting goals within our practice sessions, I thought I'd present another example, which is the analogy of a fruit tree. And we want to basically make sure that within each practice there is improvement and growth, just like with the fruit tree. So in the beginning stages, the leaves and flowers will grow first, which is pretty much like our notes or our rhythms and our hand coordination. Now, the middle stages is where we start to join these bits and pieces together more fluently, and the final stage is where the fruit starts to grow a bit more confidently and maybe ripen, as does our playing with all those added musical elements, such as our dynamics, our articulation, and our musical expression. So I hope this analogy helps you in thinking about what stages you're at with your pieces and what you can do in each stage. So in conclusion, while everyone's practice session might look a little bit different or unique, depending on your age and level, regardless of what level you're at, there are still some things that may help you structure your practice sessions. The first is setting goals within your practice sessions with the aim of improving. The second is to listen to how you play, maybe consider recording yourself, and make sure that you're familiar with your piece so that you know what to aim for, and you can also listen to other recordings of your pieces. The third is to focus on the challenging and newer aspects of your pieces and use that as the bulk of your practice sessions. And the fourth thing is to ensure that you still practice your known musical material and aim to continue to improve, to polish those pieces off and add those final touches. So I hope that this helps you to plan out your practice sessions. Thank you for the great question, and I look forward to the next one.